So when we frame that, we break it out into those areas. We think about functionality, conformance, and experience. So how can we ensure that you're delivering what you said you would deliver, right? Does it work? Is it ready to release? That's job number one. It has to work. And unfortunately, we know a lot of people that are still struggling with this basic step, right? Either they're spending too much time, they have manual efforts, they're not able to release as quickly as possible, but more importantly, they're not able to confirm that it actually works as expected. And then conformance. So this is something we've definitely seen a bigger shift over the last several years. So not just does it work, but like, does it meet these other requirements we have? These regulatory compliance, conformance to internal standards. We'll talk a little bit about accessibility later on, right? Making sure that everybody can use it, whether that's an internal requirement you have or you're meeting an obligation of industry. It's very important to understand, is this safe to release, right? So we'll talk about that a little bit. And then experience. And while these are kind of left to right, we do typically see this as a maturity curve, right? Typically people start with, all right, is it working? Which is a great place to start, because if it doesn't work, then the rest kind of is not important. And then as organizations mature their practices, then they move more into conformance, what additional requirements that they need to meet, and then finally the experience. What's the user experience on the other side? Because that's what's going to drive your business, that's going to retain your customers, that's going to differentiate you from your competitors. And so that's where we think, again, from a maturity curve perspective, that experience piece is what brings it all together to make differentiation. But not everybody's there. A lot of people are struggling with just delivery, right? And I talk with a lot of customers, a lot of you here today, and you're just trying to get it out. You're just trying to keep it going. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a customer meeting, and this happened recently as well, but I've been in a customer meeting and then they get a text or a call that something's broken, something's down. And so we're all living in this world, right? And how do we close this gap? How do we ensure delivery? How do we ensure uptime? How do we ensure that our services are working as expected? And that's really where Tricentis is bridging this gap, right? Trying to solve the perpetual triangle of quality, speed, cost, right? Those constraints that always box us in. We always have roadmaps of more things that we want to do, projects that we want to do. I like to talk on this slide about how my favorite thing to do is to just nuke a backlog, right? Because the backlog is ever growing. And if you're not managing your prioritization and not managing what's important to your business and these constraints, then you're never going to make progress. And it's going to feel like you're on this hamster wheel, right? So you need to be able to bring these constraints and these expectations together, make your priority set, and it's never easy, right? We struggle with this as well. It's something we talk about with the and, right? It's not an or, I want one or two, it's I want one and two. But this is where it's extremely important. Again, success metrics, changing business requirements, bringing that all together into having the right business discussion. And if you can package that discussion together correctly and have confidence in your ability to deliver, then you'll have the outcomes that you expect. So it takes some time, it takes effort, and a lot of times we don't want to spend that time and that effort, but it's what makes a difference between success and failure, particularly with IT projects.